What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got the set list for Starter Deck 28. That is the Yamato Starter Deck, and this is the one that I have been particularly excited about because this Yamato leader, ever since it originally came around, has been one that has been tickling my fancy, one which I thought could be very, very good. Well, now we've got the full set list of the Starter Deck. We know exactly what's included, and I think this one could be kind of cool. Now, obviously, we have the alternate art leader here. Love the alternate art. And remember, this is the leader that's got double attack. And activate main once per turn. If your opponent's got 3 or fewer life cards, give up to 2 rested Don cards to one of your characters. This will be very relevant as we go through some of the cards. And then, like normal, we have got 14 other cards in the deck, 9 of which are reprints, and 5 of which are brand new mechanically unique cards. 2 of the brand new ones will be super rares. So what have we got in terms of reprints? Well, we've got ourselves Inuarashi. 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and Don X2, when attacking, trash a card from your hand to KO an opponent's character with a cost equal to or less than the number of your opponent's life. And then if your opponent's got 3 or less life, you can play this as a trigger. Now this is very, very cool because if you've got 3 or less life, your leader's going to give you the 2 Don. And you're going to be able to play this as a trigger. Add it all up. This sounds very, very fun. We got ourselves Kawamatsu here. 3 cost, 5,000 power, and when attacking, trash 2 cards from your hand and add one of your characters with no power to the top or bottom of your life, face up. Do we have any 0 power characters in this deck? Yes, we actually do have the Yamato here, which we'll get to in a minute, and that one could be kind of fun. It's always nice to be able to add characters to your life now, isn't it? Yes. Yes, it is. Also as a trigger, if your opponent's got 3 or fewer life, play this card. Basically, you want to get your opponent down to 3 or less life very, very quickly. And with double attack on your leader, that's going to be something you should be able to do. Hikinojo here, 4 cost 6k, and on KO, if your opponent's got 3 or less life, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. That's on KO, I should say. So yeah, you're adding more life. So here we got a lot of recovery coming in, trying to make sure your opponent's just not able to win the game. And again, it's another skill that activates if your opponent's got 3 or less life. So you need to bear this in mind. Basically, get your opponent down to 3 life as fast as you can. Now then, Jiro here, 5 cost 6k, Don X2. If your opponent's got 3 or less life, this character cannot be KO'd by effects. Force your opponent to have to attack into it if they want to take it out. Again, it's another if your opponent's got 3 or less life. And actually, the trigger here, if your opponent's got 3 or less life, play this card. You'll notice there are a couple of real themes here, and that is Don X2, because that's what your leader can give you. And if your opponent's got 3 or less life, so seriously, taking those first 2 is big. We've got Nekomamushi, 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And Don X2, it can attack active characters. This is huge for being able to just come along and hurt your opponent before they get to do anything. And then as a trigger, if your opponent's got 3 or less life, play this card. Seriously, if you can take life fast enough here, there are a whole bunch of characters you've got with trigger, which will play for free, plus you're getting those 2 rested Don attached every turn. It's a big deal. We then got Raizo, 3 cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and you trash a card from your hand to rest one of your opponent's Don when attacking. Take away some of their options, that is nice. Also, as a trigger, if your opponent's got 3 or less life, play this card. Cool. We've seen that a bunch. There's a bunch of them. Now, we got a Porcus Ace coming in here. 5 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 2,000. This is a dual color leader. This is the only green card in the starter deck. It's mono yellow other than this. But on play, if you've got 2 or more rested characters, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So we got the counter plus 2k, which is important because there are a couple of others we're going to see, but counter plus 2k is still good. and then you rest one of your opponent's characters so they become a valid target, which is also very nice. We've then got the Yamato from Starter Deck 13, 5 cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 2,000, and you got Rush, and on play, look at all of your life, put one at the top of your deck, and place the rest back in your life in any order. So it's got Rush, which is cool, it's got counter plus 2k, which is cool, and then on play, you look at your life and put one at the top of your deck. It's not ideal, frankly, but then you are grabbing an extra card, so that seems like it could be nice as well. We've then got one card being reprinted as an event here, that is Blaze Slice, 1 cost, and as a main or a counter, you give a 1k bump to your leader or one of your characters for the turn, and then if your opponent's got 2 or less life, you rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Not bad for paying 1. But also a nice trigger that rests an opponent's character with a cost of 4 or less. So what have we got in terms of new cards then? Well, we've got some at the lower end, which is important because we don't have that many of them in the main deck. But we've also got ourselves a Doji. 3 cost, 3,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And on play, if your opponent has Land of Wano and 3 or more life, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 5 or less. Now, you'll notice that a lot of the triggers here are if your opponent's got 3 or less life. Your leader skill is if your opponent's got 3 or less life. This is if your opponent's got 3 or more life. So the ideal situation here, at least for a turn or two, try and make sure your opponent's got 3 life, so that all of these skills are activating. Because as soon as you take the 3rd life, or the 2nd, depending how many life they start with, then this is going to just be a vanilla 3 cost 3k, which is not good. But if you can make this work, this is decent removal. We got an Izzo here, 2 cost, 1,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And this is one I showed you the other day. We got Don X2, your game blocker, and remember they should come from your leader. And then we've also got on play, your Land of Wano leader gains banish for the turn. Now remember your leader's already got double attack. And the real downside of double attack is you take away 2 life, but your opponent either gets trigger or they get those cards in their hand. Either way, your opponent gets an advantage from you taking the life. Yes, they get closer to losing the game, of course, but they also get the advantage from that life being taken. Being able to give banish to your leader takes that away, and then you've got potentially a blocker on the board as well. Yes, I like this. We then got Kinemon, 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 2k. So this rounds out your 2k counter. There's 3 of them in the deck. That's alright. It's not stunning, but it's alright. There are a few in this deck that don't have counter though, which makes me a little worried. And we got a trigger. If your leader is Land of Wano and your opponent's got 3 or less life, play this card. So very much like the other triggers we've seen that play it if your opponent's got 3 or less life, but it is leader locked to your Land of Wano leader. Having said that, 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 2,000, that's a stat line that we see now on vanilla cards. 2k counter and a power 1 more than the cost. So having that with a trigger as well, that's a strong card. That's why it ends up being leader locked. Now, we did see the Super Rare Yamato the other day. It was revealed in a magazine. 1 cost, 0 power, counter plus 1,000. Now, the 0 power is important because it then gives you a target for your Kawamatsu here. Trash 2 cards in your hand, add a character with 0 power to the top or bottom of the owner's life face up. That's pretty sweet. And then we got Don X2 on your turn. This character gains 3,000 power. So you get Don X2, but again, that can come from your leader. That puts you up to a 2k, plus a 3k puts you up to a 5k, which of course is the minimum amount you need to be swinging into leader with any chance of success. That's actually really nice. And then on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a Land of Wano card of a cost of 2 or more and add it to your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So you play this as your searcher, but then either you Don X2 to turn it into an attacker, or you Kawamatsu to put it down as an extra life. Either way, this is a generic searcher, which is going to give you a lot of value afterwards. I love it. And then we've got Kazuki Momonosuke, 6 cost, 7,000 power. If you've got 2 or less life, your leader gains 1,000 power. Important to note, This is a static skill, you don't need to do anything. And also, there's nothing to say it doesn't stack, so it does. This could potentially give your leader up to 4k extra power. A lot to ask, but still. And then activate main once per turn. You may return 2 of your currently given Don to your cost area rested to give this character rush and an extra 1000 power. So essentially, the way this ends up working is use your leader skill to give 2 rested Don, then return those rested Don to your cost area rested, and then that gives you rush as an 8k. 6 cost 8k rush that's boosting up your leader. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this seems kind of cool. I am personally happy with the extra cards we've got for Yamato here. I don't know if this is going to make Yamato a top tier deck, but I do know that if I can make it to any of these starter deck release events, I'm probably playing Yamato. There's enough here to make me excited. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Good us? Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.